particular conception of what religion should look like for an individual, means they don't get the kinds of flexibility that allow for a stronger community, that allow for better personal connection with God. I'm going to do 4 things in this speech. Firstly, why religion matters, what's the framework by which you should judge this from. Secondly, how the concentration of authority in particular individuals means that you lock out certain individuals from being able to access that religion in a way they want. Thirdly, how the community is better when discussions is more egalitarian as opposed to more hierarchical. And finally, how the certainty that's given by unique and personal connection allows people to have a better religion. But before that, what's the stance? I think in open government we defend religions like Hinduism, which people have their own interpretation of, being able to actually have more decentralization. I think what opposition is very has to defend is religions like Catholicism, which shows that particular concentrations. Firstly, what does religion matter? What's the framework by which you should judge this from? Because no one has unique epistemic access to exactly what religion should look like, about exactly how you should interpret that religion for a particular individual. Because this is a debate about understanding what you're doing, the value that religion has to your life. What's that value? That value is the ability to know how you should shape your life, what matters to you as an individual, how you should make choices every day which reflect the unique preferences that you have to the individual, how you should interact in the world. First argument, why the concentration of authority means that you lie out people. I'm making 2 observations here. The first observation is who historically controls and has the concentration of authority. Because these sorts of people who are in the picture, who are imposing a particular view of religion, the sorts of individuals who are more privileged within these communities. It's the sort of people who throughout history have been able to rise up to having a concentration of authority. Overwhelmingly, these people tend to be male. Overwhelmingly, these people tend to not be representative of all the individuals in their community, because the ability to have enough money to actually become a religious authority is very inaccessible to most people. What does this mean? It means these sorts of people you're likely to have are people who are imposing a particular worldview that's not representative of how most people would interpret religion under their own particular stance. Second observation to make, and this is why this matters, because these sorts of imposition that you get is going to be against particular individuals' viewpoints on what they would want to have. It's things like expecting donations because you want, as a religious leader, to lead a better life, because you have a unique access and a unique position over people within that religious community that allows you to enact donations from them, that allows you to define and control these individuals about how they should actually lead their lives. Because when you're able to say you are damned if you do not do this particular thing, you have a unique power and condemning power over these particular individuals, over how they should lead their lives, and over how they should make decisions on their lives. I think that means that people who otherwise might have an identity that goes against how they interpret this religion are going to be shut out. There's people who might be gay, who are trying to be Catholic, who are told they should not join that religion because that's what a particular unique individual says they should have it as a value set in its religion. I think even if all of this is untrue, the thing to note here is that the process of becoming this religious authority leader is itself harming. Because in order for you to become a religious authority, you try and scope out a set of followers which is distinct from other groups. What does this look like? It looks like having distinct communities as opposed to a cohesive entire religion, because that's how you as a religious authority have that concentration of power over particular individuals, which I think means you get less cohesive communities. But more on that in the second argument, which is about communities and why I get more closely knit communities. Because even if we have smaller communities, I think opening government can give you better communities. How do discussions now happen? Note 3 things. Firstly, these discussions now value everyone. Because what everyone adds is seen as valuable as each other. Because now there is things like pressures for collective studying, because everyone is seen as equally valuable in those discussions. It's things like trying to include everyone else in how you have these discussions, because you think they have no better knowledge of what this religion looks like than you. It looks like having those kinds of ceremonies which allow people to have more access and have more benefits in terms of community. But secondly, I think respect for one another increases even if you don't have these collective discussions. Because now it's the case that if someone has a different interpretation to you, that's not seen as an affront to your particular community. That's seen as just a uniquely different way in which they interpret that religion, and may or may not be more valuable than yours. Which means that even if someone has a different way in which they enact this religion, I think you're more likely to respect that individual, more likely to interact with them in positive ways. But the third thing to say here is that there's fewer sectoral divisions. Because now it's the case you don't have different individuals carving out particular conceptions of what is religious, what should not be religious, which leads to sorts of tensions you see in the status quo between different sects of Islam, different sects of Christianity. I think that even if we get smaller communities, that's still something that's important for these individuals, important when they're more cohesive, important when people can help each other out more because they have the same or similar sets of interpretations. Before I go to the third argument about certainty opening.
When Judaism only allowed men to be rabbis, splinter religions formed where it allowed more empowerment for women. These only formed because leaders in that group tried to make this change happen. Can you respond to that?
There are two things. Firstly, the splinter religions that happen in the first place are always going to be dominated by males as well. But secondly, even if this is untrue, I think the splintering of religions itself means you can never actually convince people in those other religions who previously thought that males should be dominant, because you never have those connections if you're splintering on a different sex. I think what changes is you're able to have equal value in terms of these discussions and are more likely to persuade other individuals. Third argument, how there's more certainty. There's two observations I want to make. The first is on the personal connection. Because now it's not the case you're being spoken down towards, it's about you having a unique value and link to God that you are able to have an interpretation on that is valuable to yourself. What does this look like? It looks like the sorts of flexibility that allows you to enact religion and to interpret religion which represents the particular nuances of your life and the particular needs of your life. It's things like being able to interpret religion which allows you to have lifestyle choices like whether or not you're gay, whether or not you have things that otherwise religions previously might have frowned upon, and which allows you to have a huge amount of value in your life because of all the stuff we said at the start. But the second thing to talk about is people who are thinking of leaving. Because in the status quo, there are individuals who think because of the impositions that religion places upon them, that there's not much value in that religion, because it goes against the lifestyle that they want to have, it goes against the needs they have in their life. What changes for these individuals? Now when you have a more flexible religion that you can shape for yourself, you're able to stay within this religion, you're able to interpret that religion in a way that is beneficial for you as an individual. Why is this so important? Because for these individuals, leaving that religion loses all of the value that we told you about at the start of the speech, loses all the value of community that opposition might have talked about in this debate, loses all the value of being able to have religion that tells you how your life should look, what the meaning of that life is, how that interacts with the rest of the decisions that you make, and how you should view the arc of your life. Look, this means you get better communities, more certainty, vote justice.
To discussion will be seen as equally valuable when no one has particular defined authority in that discussion. I have three responses. The first thing I want to say is, it is extremely likely that certain voices are still likely to dominate those discussions. We can just compare that to non-religious society, right? As in, all of us, those of us who are not religious, do not all treat each other and our contributions equally. We still prioritize privileged voices in those discussions, like people who are white, like people who are male. There's no reason at least that those kinds of privileges are still likely to work in those religious communities, and the male leaders they're so concerned about are still likely to exist. But secondly, we think that religious communities are actually more susceptible to things like people dominating those kinds of discussions, because doubt is a very central aspect of religion, which meant that interpretations, but someone was much more confident in their religious interpretation because that person had studied theology, or they had witnessed a miracle, or heard the voice of God, or strongly believed that their interpretation was correct. Other members of that religious community who felt that doubt were likely to defer to that confidence and buy in and be co-opted by that kind of voice. So we did not think that authoritative voices did not exist inside government, but they existed worse, because we could not control how they were chosen as a community more broadly, but they arose out of problematic attributes that inside government did not care about. First point is for Senator. Why do we think that centralized authority voices and hierarchies are actually better for people of faith in these kinds of religions? The first thing to say is that it's actually easier for religious people to have a connection to God through an authority figure. That is to say that the majority of people of faith do not themselves hear the voice of God, or are not confident that they will ever be able to do so. And we think it's very regrettable that lots of people feel that they themselves will not have a personal connection to God. We think that kind of connection brings peace and solace and certainty about the afterlife, and one of the most scariest things that lots of people will come to experience. We think it is incredibly comforting to feel confident that you have access to that kind of religion when you have an authority figure you have to defer to. But in the absence of that figure, we think you're just much more likely to question your interpretation, your ability to read those Bibles, because you have not yourself studied theology, you are not confident you're doing that right. That was susceptible to the kinds of abuse I was telling you about, but also just meant you felt bad now because you were not able to practice your religion in the way that your God wanted to, because you were not confident you were doing it correctly. At the end of that, then, we think you deprived people of faith of incredible peace and solace, and we thought that was regrettable. But the second thing I want to tell you about is why we thought passive worship was in fact better than the kinds of active worship that side government are demanding to put on people of faith. The first thing to say is that we thought passive worship, where you could defer to an authority figure, actually lowered the barrier to entry for these types of religions. That is to say, it's much easier to sit in a hall once a week and listen to someone's sermon and then be confident that you have pleased your God and are able to access peace, than it is to actively go out yourself and read texts and try and do charity work and be not sure or confident if you have done enough to please your God. We thought that passive worship lowered the barrier to entry, made a religion more accessible. We're proud to support that point.
Catholic priests have abused tens of thousands of children and been protected by their superiors in a culture that says such authority figures should never be criticised. Why should we care about your benefits towards random followers over the lives of children who have been ruined?
Okay, a couple of responses. The first is just to say we don't think we need to defend the way that authority figures in churches were treated centuries ago. That is to say, we see a trajectory of people becoming more and more willing to question authority figures. Blasphemy is no longer a crime, and we encourage that kind of discourse to exist within our society. But secondly, we would tell you that your side of the house is much more susceptible to abuse when any person can justify any moral action because their interpretation and their connection to God told them that that was correct. Because if you did do things like hurt children, but you were confident that God said it was okay, you could no longer sit in a confessional with a priest who had authority telling you, no, that was not okay, go and report yourself to the police. We thought that that authority meant that not all moral stances could be justified by any person that it was convenient to them, but we could at least choose who was able to have that authority, and they were much more likely to exercise it better. As I told you throughout this speech, we are likely to have authority figures regardless. The question is whether or not that should be any single person who believes they have the authority of God, or someone who can be lifted up on the basis of positive attributes by the community as a whole. That was preferable. That's what government had to defend. The last thing I want to talk about in this speech in substantive then is why we thought authority figures were actually better for these communities, because A, they led to more structural change, and B, were better for minority religions. Let's talk about structural change then. We think if you do want the kinds of reforms and inclusivity that open government were so concerned with, it is easier to do so when you have a centralized structure of authority to critique and to challenge, but then to actively convince to change their ways and then change their border communities to change their ways. That is to say, if you have disparate communities of people who may or may not be inclined to be inclusive of queer people and more minorities like that, it is much harder to convince a large array of individual communities that their interpretations to God, which cannot be challenged or be reconsidered. We thought it was much more easy to lobby things like churches, to lobby central religious figures, but also, if you were successful, that payoff was then so much greater, because now that was an authority figure instructing their community to be more inclusive. But we also thought that authority figures were better able to advocate and represent minority religions in a way that individuals in that religion would never have the capacity to do so. Because if you're part of a marginalized religion in a society that were the victim of discriminatory policies, it was much easier for a government to engage religion in order to achieve better discourse and policy figures, that have individual marginalised people trying to lobby government more broadly, not being sure whose voices ought to be listened to in those circumstances. We thought we got better advocacy for those groups there. At the end of this then, we recognise that religion had incredible power in the world, and that was likely to not go away. They brought the kinds of benefits we could only protect on our side of the house when we allowed the peace and comfort that came from centralised religion, but protected the abuse of any single person thinking they had the divine right of God. We were so proud to oppose.
We think that it's of the opposition to continue the case on the government side, and I was going to let the Prime Minister continue.
Three things in this speech: attacking opening opposition and two structural premises on which we have to lose this debate. Secondly, telling you continue to build our case on why the incentives of religious leaders are always tending to be more perverse than those of communities that don't have such centralized authority. And finally, just identifying what are the biggest clashes, what matters most in this debate, why we win. The two structural premises why opening opposition has to lose. First, they think in a debate about preference you can have some weird off-fiat for having democratically elected leadership. I am sorry, you need to engage with this debate in the way the world operates. Even in your best case, you can hope maybe there'll be more reformed religions that happen, but for that you need at least give us incentives for why these changes happen. We tell you, on balance, given how current processes of selection happen for these religions, it's done by people on the top. You select your next person. Or even in the Catholic Church, it's like the literal cardinals who were selected by the previous pope choose the next pope. Like, there are reasons why leadership in religious authority has always been conservative and has always been privileged. It's because you choose what is considered most divine. And that is the second premise why they have to lose. They believe without ever justifying in a monist conception of God. That is, you cannot have value pluralism for how you access God. And that was the biggest argument we made at opening government. That is, there is no idea of, oh, I don't know if I'm doing it right, because we destroy that idea that there has to be a one right way to do it. I suspect this is premised on some Judeo-Christian conception of what it means to access God, and therefore an authority is the only way to do it. That is merely an assertion without ever justifying why it is that many thousands and millions of Buddhists who don't have a central figure can't still access God or feel very happy about accessing that God. I suspect it is because that is just what they have currently been told, unclear why if you did tell them that was the only way to access God, they couldn't access it differently. Then, and finally, I'll reveal their arguments now. They tell us hierarchy is good because it gives you certainty. But I suspect the reasons that they try to give us for why hierarchy is good and it benefits certainty is because you are then saying that this person is really, really clever, is really, really unquestionable, which makes it more likely that all the stuff that you then wanted to tell us about how we will challenge these people when they do shitty things is bad. And sure, they pure that. Jamie gives you the three reasons why these incentives will always tend towards being bad. From the most, horrible conception of what religious leaders are, it's because they want money and they want power, and they will get more of it if they convince you into telling lies that you need to pay them some money, otherwise you will have eternal damnation. But secondly, it's because even if they genuinely believe in that God religion, they have more power and capacity to proselytize people in bad ways as compared to these communities. This means having the intolerance that they would say you would have less of. So their claim was, if you're a religious minority leader, we can talk to that religious minority leader. But if you don't think there's a single way to access God, the acceptability of differences increases. So you don't have as much religious persecution because you don't think someone who's accessing God in a different way matters that much. Because notice the motion says, you now develop personalized connections. So it is understandable that different people, even if they somewhat converge towards a similar idea, just access God in different ways. So even if there's some difference between how a Hindu now accesses God and a Buddhist now accesses God, those differences matter less because internal to your own community, you're all accessing God in your own personal way. I think this shows why they lose. They lastly tell us, you get more structural reform because these leaders will change. But that doesn't engage with how these people happen. They find us, you just have bad ways of conceiving God. I think laws will still exist. So even if some people have really fucked up way of accessing God, the law can solve for those issues. What do we tell you and what matters most in this debate? What we told you, and what they've never engaged with, is why flexibility matters. Because yes, it is true, fewer people are now caring about God, but I posit to you that those who do care about God get an almost infinite benefit from having that belief in God right now, which thousands of people are currently losing because rules imposed from the top don't let them or make them feel like they can never access this religion. Why do we uniquely create that? Firstly, on why you're less likely to be averse to the idea of God if it is personal connection. For the most obvious reason, because now you have the maximum autonomy compared to any other structure. So yes, even if they did that mitigatory, a white man will have some more noise. The white man has always been the Pope on your side. Our side will have at least less. That mitigation is a concession that at least we have less hierarchical structures. But secondly, right, it is because you have the greatest autonomy and capacity to frame how God should exist in your mind. That is why you're more likely to opt into the idea of God, because you know if you have some mental hurdle or difficulty, you won't be able to do it. They then say, but you need to spend hours reading theology. But this is what we preempted, right? It is just unclear to us, and they never give an argument why any human has more epistemic access to the existence or non-existence of a God. Rather, we posit some people are better at lying, and because they've been blessed by the people who are better at lying than in previous generations, they just reached a rank that you now think that they are telling you the truth. I posit no imam and no priest has ever actually been touched by the hand of God, but rather what happens is they can convince people they have. Our world, no one gets a magical touch by God, but rather they can have their own ways of thinking about it. And yes, some of them will struggle. These are harder questions. I posit the vast majority of people are struggling with that without having access to any religion because they think rules-imposed religion is something they can never belong to. Secondly, on discussions. They tell us these discussions will be bad because you'll all just be so fucking confused about what's happening. But rather, I suspect when you give everyone an equal space, voices that were previously excluded on communicating about religion now have those spaces. So yes, this is a real diversity of thought argument, but that diversity of thought is critical here because it doesn't happen in worlds where there is structural leadership telling you everything you need to do. That means these discussions are likely to be conciliatory because you know your only opportunity to access God is yourself and the few people around you. That means you treat those fewer people around you better. Sure, our communities will be massive, that doesn't help us. I want to notice that Odin after the POI, I hope they'll at least take one from us. Finally, on what has to win this debate, right? What has to win this debate is whether we create better incentives for accessing religion. Why do we create those better incentives? Because religious leaders only care about their own strength and their own section. That means their best case is a feminist leader somehow walks into the top of a particular religious institution and then splinters and has an amazing, feminist inclusive space for religion. I posit that never happens 99 out of 100 times. Rather, in our world, you can band in smaller groups that just care about certain ideas. But even if you don't band around these better spaces, your incentives are greater to listen to each other or care about each other. Ultimately, we win this debate on 3 metrics. 1, if all teams agree religion is good, we create most positive incentives to join any religion because you have most autonomy over framing it. 2, if religious communities matter, we decrease the spaces that are currently over-amplified on any comparison and create better spaces. But 3, if it matters that you have some access to God, we create that access better than anyone else because it's a personal connection, which means you are not worried that someone else has a different personal conception. That is why we objectively win very powerful votes.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister, to close the case for the top of the debate. For the deputy of your position.
I think OG's critical flaw is that they assume the stagnation of religions, that the first interpretation was the interpretation of the continuum. But the reason we have progressive religions, the reason we have reform and more inclusion, is because organized religion wants to be popular, it wants more people to join. It has every incentive to try to make it a more appealing religion in a way that community or equal worship does not. It has every incentive to try to not look out the gays, to try to not look out the women when it's trying to gain that popularity. If you only have every individual thinking of themselves, you never get the structural reform which led to the first gay pope, or you never get the reform that led to female rabbis existing. And that's what makes religion inclusive. The fact that it's kept up with society because of that. So, I'm going to quickly paint a picture of what both worlds look like, because they never actually characterize what their little communities would look like. We think it's going to be incredibly insular and harmless. So, our world looks like the current status quo, which is competition in religion, where religion has every incentive to change. Why is that? Because all the mechanisms about religion losing popularity is the reason that religious leaders want to make it more popular. They have every incentive to moderate, every incentive to try and make minority groups join. But also, to the extent to which they don't, splinter religions form. And that's why I said in a POI, I said, if you are saying that the religions are sexist, they're rich, they're locking people out, then splinter groups form and you can choose to go to a different religious group that has a leader that caters to you. And that's incredibly beneficial, because if you didn't have the splinter groups, you wouldn't get women in Judaism being leaders. That trajectory is good, and that trajectory stops the second you do not have incentives to make more people join. But secondly, they just never told you what their conception of the world looked like. Toni did. Toni said you still have incentives to form communities, and they conceded this, which means we're just going to form communities where no one has a hierarchical power, but you form people with the same beliefs. That's why you get small, very religious enclaves that have incredibly conservative views that hate the gays, forming enclaves together where you are locked out because everyone wants to flock to people like them. You instead have geographical areas where everyone in the same area has to form the same kind of worship. So we still get the same disparate disclosure there. But also, you get the same confirmation bias because those communities that form will still likely lock out the same people. They never proved that suddenly it'll be a more like everyone holistic kind of view of every single person joining together. Rather, you'll flock to the people like you, and if you're in a regional area or you're in an area that isn't New York, you'll probably have one view dominating, and so you'll still have the same lockout there. But also, it is a far worse lockout when you say there is no leader you can scrutinize, there is no public discussion, everyone's equal. Because, panel, everyone is not equal. Right now, men still dominate, rich people still dominate. We'd rather make that official so it can be criticized, something that's subject to scrutiny, rather than an unconscious bias that will always exist and always dominate those same voices. At least under our status quo, we allow those figures to be scrutinized, to be deconstructed, and to challenge so that female leaders form. I would so much rather have explicit sexism you can criticize than sexism that will still exist and probably be more insidious in that way. The final thing they say that is an assertion is that you cannot access your own personal religion under the status quo. That is not how organized religion works. You go to church and you can have an interpretation given to you. But you also still get personal worship. I can still talk to God even though I am Jewish. I can go to a synagogue and then come home and also have my own conversation and I can also choose which text I agree with, which is why if I feel locked out, I can join a different view. Okay, I'm going to quickly deal with the abuse of religion because I feel like that might be their extension, which I think is good, but I actually don't think it applies in this debate. Why? Because if you are told that your voice of God is the right voice of God, you've given yourself the authority to commit the types of abuses they are so horrified by. Because now every single person has a direct connection to God, every single person feels justified by the fact that God said it's okay that they commit these atrocities and they can do it. While under the status quo, you have to be subject to the interpretation and moderation of other leaders. This means that if the Pope says it is bad to murder, you cannot murder because they are the voice of God rather than you. But if you are the kind of egotist that they want to talk about, then you're more likely to feel justified in your actions because you're directly to God. But also, Toni told you we don't live in a world in which we accept the actions of the Catholic Church. The leaders are subject to scrutiny in a way individuals are not. That is why we got reform. That is why they cannot commit these kinds of atrocities. But when every individual doesn't have a leader, you allow these atrocities to continue and to occur because it happens on such a wider level and is not subject to the same public scrutiny. We think it's far better to have leaders to change the systems themselves than have those same systems, but no one to criticize who's rather focus power. I'll take closing.
In what year do you think we'll see the first female Catholic priest?
I think probably the next 10 years. I think it is something that is incredibly progressive. Judaism has already done it. Catholicism wants to keep up. Catholicism wants support. In a world you characterize as a world of dying religion, they have every incentive to get a Catholic Church. And I think they don't. Maybe a splinter religion will occur that does, and that will gain popularity. The competition of religion is incredibly good. Toni told you to literally zero response why the reform of religion is incredibly important and only received under organized religion. That's because religion has not and will not remain stagnant. It has every incentive to reform, and it's the leaders who get this change, because the leaders, as they said, want power and want influence. You don't get that if people hate you. You get power and influence when you make your constituents happy, and that happens when you listen to their voices. But if you have a group of individuals, they have no incentive to ever reform. They have no incentive to change their views because they cannot get more more power in that group in the way that leaders can. But also, we got the first openly gay pope because of things like, and if you want to talk about women, talk about the gays who have also got so much more consideration under the status quo. We think these things happen when you have incentives to cater towards those minority groups. Private worship never allows that same level of discourse or voice, because there's no leaders to have that discourse and voice. You never get that scrutiny, you never get that policy, you never get that deconstruction. We think we get better religions from outside the house because you get splinter religions and reformed religions. That stops all of their lockout mechanisms because there are so many more tailored religions that tailor to people. We think we'd rather have a world where there is more diversity and better religion in the first place. But finally, let's talk about religion on a personal level. They say it locks people out. And this is still a response to the I gave you, which is, if it locks people out, religions form that cater to people who are locked out. If you're locked out as a gay individual, there are now sects of those religions that cater that. But when you're a conservative splinter group who is just a community of equals, you do not get that same ability to deconstruct and criticize the people around you. That's why there are women rabbis and gay popes. But also, we think that for those same reasons that exist, your own communities will lock people out because people will flock to people like them, and that means you'll have the same homophobia, the same versions in your little sects that you want to prop. We think that's incredibly bad. But also, we just think, we think that your personal religion is also able to be accessed under the status quo when it is a combination of listening to leaders and those around you. But also, they then asserted that everyone in these communities would be valued to the same extent. That is a fallacy to say if we all sat in the room, the voices of the straight white men would not be footed above others. We think, as Toni told you to no response, this allows minority religions and the voices of leaders of organizations who are people of color to have the same ability to stand on a board and talk and have the discussions in a way in which your insidious discrimination would not. But also, religion is often a counterforce to those power structures, because while it may not be democratic, it is based on your ability to understand God and theology. That is a far better way to determine leadership than the loudest voice and the best arguer. We think it's far better to allow it to be based on something. At the end of this, individuals can access religion personally and through organizations, but we'd rather have organizations be catering towards those individuals and actually reform in a way that benefits those. But also, we don't want every individual to feel empowered to commit atrocities because they're talking directly to God. So proud of the game.
Your position. The government, we call upon the member of
Feel very impressed.
Two extensions in my speech. Firstly, by changing the structure of the religion from hierarchical to horizontal is good. And secondly, why horizontal religion is reformable and is better for individuals. So on to my first extension, why changing the structure is good. We think that instead of having hierarchy with authority at the top to delegate power, we're more likely to see home churches and community groups spread out because we empower individuals to have their own interpretations and we empower individuals to have the lead. And we think this is better for two reasons. Firstly, we think that authority is more likely to abuse power and exploit people. OG told you that they are privileged, so this is why they are bad. We're going to tell you four structural reasons of why we always have the incentive to do so. Firstly, the only revenue and the only source of money is from tithe and it's from donation, which means we only have the financial incentive to exploit these people and to get as much money as possible. But secondly, their power is contingent on the size of the church, which means they have the incentive to brainwash people and to manipulate people so they do not have the capacity to leave, so they always stay as church and they always listen to them. But thirdly, we think that there is no check and balances and there is no accountability within a hierarchical structure because they are the only one with connection to God, they are the only one with authority to interpret the Bible, and they have the ability to shut people out. But fourthly, we think that even if they are able to do good things, they are usually going to use such good things to only boost their PR. For example, building useless like schools in remote remote community where they're only where people cannot even get access to food. And we think that doing these useless bad things is like misallocation of resources and it's really bad, even if they do good things. But secondly, we think that horizontal structure is so much better Firstly, we think that they're usually based in community, which means they have more interaction within the community members. They are more likely to talk to each other and figure out what is really needed in the local community, and they're going to spend their resources so much more efficiently to build things that are actually needed. But sadly, even if always like there were still people who are privileged, we think that they have so much less capacity to abuse and to manipulate people because everyone has access to religion, which means this gives members the capacity to critique and to monitor the behavior of the leaders and empowers members to speak out as well. And also we make it so much easier to monitor people who are in like a much smaller organization than in a big organization. But even if they do bad things, we think it is easier to prosecute people in horizontal structure rather than vertical structure. And this is for two reasons. Firstly, we think that it is really hard to prosecute people in hierarchical structure for four reasons. Firstly, they have the incentive to cover up because all the authority figures share a similar interest to stay in charge and to stay in power, which means all the authority figures can protect each other. But secondly, we think that the church has huge resources within the organization to hire lawyers and pour resources into the lawsuit to make sure that people do not win these suits. But also thirdly, we think that they can simply shut people up by shaming them and by excluding them from the community. Be like, if you prosecute me and if you say bad things to me, you are going to hell, and that's why they are going to be shut down. But fourthly, we think that the structure itself protects people because they can just like move people into between branches, which means the structure itself is good, is like really like suitable for this hiring. But secondly, we think that horizontal structure is so much easier to prosecute, and this is for four reasons. Firstly, we think that they are just like simply normal individuals and normal blocks in a community, which means it is easier to prosecute them because they have less power and less authorities around them. But secondly, we think that they have way less money and resources to hire lawyers and go into the legal suits. And thirdly, we think that you are more likely to speak up because you are connected to the communities and you know that you have access to God and you have connection to God, which means this personal connection is likely to empower you to speak up, and you're more likely to seek support within the community if you know them personally and if you hear and if they have the incentive to hear your stories because they see you every day. But fourthly, we think that even if you can't do this, you can just simply leave the group because you still know that you will have connection to God, you can still pray to God, you don't need to rely on the more powerful figures, which means you can simply pray at home, which will deprive you of the same benefit as well. But secondly, we think that changing the structure is good because the horizontal structure allows the protection of persecuted religions in those bad countries because they can simply disperse in home churches and in community groups and survive because it is really hard for the central government to crack down like thousands and millions of individual churches, but it is really easy for this authority to crack down one central body because it is very easily identifiable, so it is easy for the authorities to shut down and prosecute the members. But that also means when it is dispersed, the members will feel secure and they will feel certain and they will feel better because they know they still have access to God, they can still have their personal connection to God, which means even if they can disperse on their side, we get better security and better connection to God because they know they can just pray on their own and they do not need to rely on the authorities.
Without leaders, reform doesn't occur. If we're going to be stuck with Christianity, wouldn't we rather this conception of Christianity than the original homophobic and all sexist inversion?
That's why reform is my second issue. So on to my second extension, why horizontal structure is reformable, and I think that this is for three reasons. Firstly, you have the capacity to critique and monitor leaders because you have your own access and own interpretation in the Bible and you know it is valid, and other people know it is valid as well, which means they have the incentive to listen to you. Also, secondly, it is so much easier to reform 10 people church rather than millions of people organizations under the status quo. They told you that they have the incentive to moderate, they never told you what is the exact incentive. We tell you that they take so much more resources to reform the whole Catholic Church, and also people do not have personal interactions within the whole international Catholic Church, which means there is less incentive to listen to these persecuted people, which means it is easier to reform on our side. But thirdly, we have the incentive to reform because it is a very small group of people. You see them every single day, you will probably be friends with them, which means you want to feel better and you care for them, which means it is more likely for you to reform, which means you achieve two benefits. Firstly, we empower the persecuted and empower the minority people and give them the tool to define the religion for themselves and to interpret the religion for themselves and push the church to reform because they have the capacity and the church has the incentive. But secondly, we have more interpretations of the same text, which means we actually have more competition, which means people have the ability to choose. But secondly, we think that religion is going to be better for individuals for two reasons as well. Firstly, individuals are more likely to feel better because they feel the personal connection. No, God is hearing from them directly. Oh, I told you they're going to feel bad because they interpretation is right. But under the status quo, you have no idea if the authority is right as well, because it is just like simply authority's interpretation, which means we suppose people have their own interpretation and feel secure about this. But secondly, we think that you maximize your chance to go to heaven as well, because religion emphasizes on the sinlessness and love of God, which means you're more likely to go to heaven if you pray personally every day. Also, like religious leaders are fucking like lazy. When thousands of people request prayer requests, do you think this one leader is going to really fill thousands of people? Like no, which means you're not going to heaven. But you land the authorities big up, and more likely to do so on our side. At the end of the debate, horizontal structure is so much better for protect the multiple people in this debate. Sorry,
We thank the government for opening case for the close position to qualify for the national position here.
I think the thing that was lacking in this debate is an understanding of how the world will work and necessarily how this will play out in society. So before moving on to anything in this debate, the first question I want to answer is how will the world look like? Because we think in a world where we prefer religions that don't have religious authorities, the Bible, the Quran, all these things still are there. The question then becomes, how do individuals reinterpret or interpret these things absent of individuals that give them affirmation about what the correct interpretation of their religions are? I have two extensions in this debate. The first, I'll prove to you why radicalism gets far worse in the world of government, and secondly, I'll prove to you why hope is very important for individuals and why the premise, like the slight premise from the opening opposition about doubt, is insufficient in explaining to you why individuals genuinely feel better in their day-to-day life, why they get some version of purpose. But before that, a few points on the strenuous rebuttal. Closing government suggests that there is more criticism and abuse when you don't have religious figures. I don't think this is true, because religious scriptures often preach generally about benevolence and good. That is to say, religious leaders have an incentive to be the best version of those religious scriptures and to some degree want to be as benevolent as possible. Secondly, they are likely to be in the limelight. So this debate must be a comparative. In a world where they're in the limelight, where a lot of people look at their actions, look at how horrible or good they are, and constantly evaluate their actions, they have an incentive to be as good as possible in the most scenarios possible. What's the comparative? We communities in your world are likely to be far more close and insular, and this is where we differ from opening up. Because individuals have less incentive to correct each other and less incentive to engage in discussions to begin with. In a world where people just accept personal interpretation may be different, people don't see a need to necessarily call other individuals out, and the incentive and push to moderate to begin with is something that doesn't exist in the world of government. This link is the most important thing in this debate, because it's the mechanization of opening opposition's argument about moderation. In order for moderation to happen, the pretext is people must have an incentive to want to make each other moderate first, because they want to have some collective benefit, because they see value in having some community. No, thank you. Second extraneous rebuttal. Secondly, with regards to opening government suggesting that there's less anger because individuals no longer see these things as an affront to you. I think in our world, if you can see that there's they make arguments about how you have small communities. If you have those small communities, they also have the capacity to pursue as well. In fact, they're likely to have more literalist interpretations, because if no one is an expert in theology, if no one is an expert in religion, then they just defer to the thing that is most proximate to them. And as opening government and opening opposition suggest, but don't make this thing, the thing that's most proximate to them is the most literal, old and ancient interpretation of the religion. The comparative is, at least we have a chance of reinterpreting that religion in a world where these religious authority figures want to moderate people, want to gain more followers, want to get more people into their religion. The rest of my rebuttals will be integrated. Firstly, with regards to radicalism, three structural reasons why I agree. In terms of accountability, we think that the reason why we are able to do this is because people, like religious leaders, don't just want to include like current individuals in their religion. They also want to expand to get followers from other religions. They want to expand to get atheists. They want to expand to get agnostic. That is to say, they are forced to discuss and they are forced to engage with individuals that have completely different conceptions and versions of life to them, which gives them an incentive to find, at this giving, to find the most palatable version of religion, to find the most moderate version of religion, in order to include people not just from their religion, but from completely different sectors of life in order to make it accessible for them. No, thank you. Secondly, the reason why radical is is that more accountability, we think that's radicalism. Secondly, we think in the world of God, everyone has their own conceptions of religion. That means they are likely to self-justify these conceptions of religion based on preconceived biases that they have. So individuals of homophobic are far worse in a world where you allow them to self-justify to themselves why homophobia is good, why these things are good, because I'm allowed to have my own opinion. The comparative is, we agree change is slower, but in a world where there are so many homosexuals, in a world where there are so many minorities, these religious individuals have an incentive to at least be less hostile to these people. So maybe we don't accept these people, but maybe you can get married, maybe you can adopt individuals, and these marginal changes are things that you don't get in the world of government. No, thank you, I'll take you in a while. Lastly, we just think, so considering I've established that communities are more insular, they still have an incentive to prove that their personal connection to God is superior to other people. Insofar as there's communities of people that agree about some things, they want to prove that they have the best connection with God. They have the most right connection with God. Because even though you have a personal connection with God, if someone says something directly contradictory, that directly goes against your personal connection with God because there's something inherently wrong with it. But the comparative is, when you have more factions, insular factions, they are more likely to have an incentive to fight, more likely to have an incentive to war with each other, as opposed to when we have one or two strong religious blocs, we think they check each other and they balance each other out because there's strong economic costs to going up against each other, strong costs with regards to like people and followers in their region. The comparative is when you have factions that can constantly have echo chambers and self-justify to themselves what the correct interpretation of religion is, they are more likely to fight against each other, more likely to go to war with each other because they live in these self-affirming echo chambers that are far worse in their world. Before I move on, I'll take it.
Your entire piece is based on a bizarre claim that communities will be so unsophisticated that they'll refer to literalist explanations of the Bible about not mixing their fabrics. But this doesn't engage with the autonomy that we tell you, which means that they conceive God now in their own identities. You can now find any gay and religious in your world. That doesn't happen.
I understand. But the question must become, what are they most likely to defer to? And I think in a world absent of people able to tell you things that are slightly contrary to the book, things that slightly reinterpret the book, the best approximation of what God is the Bible, is the Quran, and they're likely to do these things, and gay people are likely to feel worse. The comparative is, maybe we have one or two progressive religious authority figures that can give affirmation to these gay individuals to make them feel like they're part of religion. But here's the winning extension with regards to hope. Because I think poor people, gay people, every minority doesn't feel like they have enough. They constantly have existential dread about what is likely to happen in the future. What do? We think these communities of religion have structure and purpose. People often don't know in the world of God how to gain fulfillment. They don't know what to do. There's no formalized structure. In a world where there's a formalized structure, where they can constantly go out and preach, where they can constantly give food to people, all these things give meaning and purpose to individuals' lives. That is to say, so even if you don't believe in certain principles, you're able to go out there and feel fulfilled every day. You're able to do things. And this is important because we think the problem with like minorities and so on is that they often don't have like conventional forms of success, conventional forms of happiness. So the thing that they need is emotional support. They need hope. They need belief that things will get better. In a world where some religious authority figures may support them, they're able to have this formalized structure of constantly feeling like their purpose, constantly deriving a sense of satisfaction from it. This applies to everyone. It affects the most number of people as a result of it. Thanks.
We thank the member for the position, including our bench, welcome the government.
First CO, then OO, then our extension. On CO, they offer a case that is radically divorced from reality. Because they say, well, everyone, you have to moderate to get everyone on side. These organised religions have to try and reach outside their community and try and convert people. But that is simply not the case. Because it is so much easier to maintain an equilibrium than to try and reach into other people's territory. So if you do that, and then they're going to try and respond. And we point to the way that almost every single religious community has become so calcified in recent years. Because it is so much easier to lock down the people on your side, because if you try and reach outside of that, you run the risk of losing your own herd, and that is a far greater risk than you simply wish to accept. But insularity is far more likely on their side, because one, religion on their side is necessarily more positivist. Because if you have someone who's saying this is the correct interpretation, you're far more likely to be exclusive to other people. You're far more likely to draw in on yourself. Whereas on our side, if everyone is allowed to come up with their own interpretations and to discuss them freely, it is far more likely that you're going to be inclusive of people on the outside. And even if your religion itself is a little more insular, you as a person are going to be way less insular, and you're going to have way better interaction with other people. But second of all, as a result of this, even if it is not as insular on their side, it is way more full of zealots who are convinced that their particular interpretation is the correct one, is the only one that is right, and they are the ones who react most violently to response to them. But also, like, the main premise of their case is also that literalism is incredibly bad. Because the one thing standing between cool and good modern beliefs, which simply don't exist currently, and evil sort of barbarian takes from the early like 6th century or something, like, is these liberal religious figures who simply do not exist right now. And we would look at a lot of these source texts, and a lot of them are very liberal. They preach values of love, or submission, or like being kind to your neighbor, or inclusion to other faiths. Like, these texts are not inherently wrong. Like, this is a huge debate in Bible scholarship right now, in Quranic scholarship, in Torah scholarship. I don't think they can simply claim that for their side. The second extension they spend about 40 seconds on is about hope. They said it gives people purpose, but we said, given that our extension about how these leaders have quite perverse incentives to try and terrify their people into staying within their congregation, sort of negates this. Because a lot of religions do not offer hope, a lot of time they threaten the very worst face upon their followers if they turn away. But our extension uniquely allows the most oppressed people, the people who are shut out of religions right now and who do exist, we allow them to have hope in that they can have their own reading of the text. Because even if these religions are horrible, even if they exclude people, you give people the justification to come up with their own interpretations. They can read it in their own way, and that is a unique amount of hope that only side government gets and opposition bench can never hope to get. On opening opposition, they have 3 general benefits. The first is accessibility. They say, well, not everyone has heard the voice of God, but it's far easier to sort of like listen to like a priest in church, or like listen to an imam or something. Look, for our side of work, we don't need everyone to have a revelation like Saul of Tarsus, where he's sort of confronted with his divine light or something like that. And we think a lot of people simply do feel God in their quiet life, in their times of stress, in their times of need, and they do hear those voices in the quiet of their life, which Deputy Leader of Opposition literally concedes in her analysis of how she can like go home and pray and stuff like that. But also, the accessibility point was contingent on the religions being good, because you don't get consolation if it's an awful religion, and so to the extent it's accessible, you simply get more people doing a bad thing, which is a huge harm for them. So it's more on reform or evolution. They say, well, what is it? It's easier to reform to like one church that's only one, rather than going over like heaps of small different communities one by one. But if the one is an incredibly calcified and oppressive institution with way more resources than any activist can ever offer, that sounds pretty difficult. And if there's a large number of them, you don't need to win all of them. You can make some inroads in the very most liberal ones, and then that can spread throughout the community to the other ones, and so that's far better. Their point on competition literally works for us, because we're the ones with more interpretations, so you get more competition. And it's far more likely that you get divergent interpretation. If you get one interpretation, out of that comes another 2, and then out of that, the more popular one gets more. Like, it's literally the process of natural selection, after which they basically made that point. So we get way more on that, but also we had a whole extension on reform which responded to that. And then they talk about how you get more scrutiny, because it's like one big religion, so everyone's sort of looking at that. But scrutiny is explicitly discouraged on their side of the house, because they say that people should accept the teachings of the people above them. But second of all, even if they're scrutinized, you can't even act on it, because it is covered up by people inside that. That was our point of information about the sex scandals within the Catholic Church. But also, you simply have they simply just have way more resources to defend against this, and it's simply hard to do anything, even if people are looking at them. And then they say, well, like, if everyone on our side can speak with the voice of God, they can justify anything. Yes, one person can justify anything, and everyone else in the community punishes them for it. So it literally doesn't matter, because everyone else has the voice of God on their side. The last thing, the number 3 claim that opening opposition makes is about protecting minorities. Because they say, well, if a minority group has a leader to protect them, that's a benefit for them. But it's like, yes, you have one leader to stand up against these giant, like way more oppressive organisations, and this way up was never really made. But our extension 1 said we would get more reform, which protects these minorities. But second of all, even in the case of us having worse religions, we give them the consolation in their own interpretation being valid. Because it is always going to be the case there is some form of exclusion, and we are the only side that actually gives those excluded people the means to defend themselves, the means to have consolation, the means to justify their own existence, and the means to feel comfortable. I'll take post.
We told these excluded groups help out those excluded by allowing different, more reformed religions. There's something happening if you have implicit bias which takes over all minorities so they never get the opportunities. Please respond.
Well, we have more splinter groups because everyone's in a splinter group now, right? Like, and the thing is, like, there's always going to be someone good if, like, basically everyone's got their own religion. And so if it's but also, like, the splinter groups from Catholicism and just like the Baptist Church, you aren't Anyway, talking about our extension, we basically gave 3 general ideas. The first was that religions on our side are inherently better because leaders cannot be oppressive. Basically, in the status quo, 1, they have the incentive to be bad because they want to lock down their groups of followers. They want to get as much tithe as possible because their power is directly linked to the amount of donations they have. They have an incentive to abuse, they have an incentive to terrify people because that cements their grip on power. So even though Op's like, well, they have an incentive to appeal people, no, they have an incentive to force people to remain against their will. Second of all, they have the means to be bad because they're never questioned. The way this manifests is in the awful, like, incredibly repressive faith they preach, in the tithe that they demand from the poorest of followers, and in the huge amount of abuse. We know this faith is historical because we would prefer a nation that never had slaves to a nation that did have slaves, and that we would prefer a church that did not have a long history of sexual abuse behind it, and that is a unique benefit that we offer at closing government. But also, second of all, we provide way better means for improvement, because even if religions on our side are worse, we offer a way better path to improvement. 1, our material and natural selection, but second of all, how they respond far better to criticism. But third of all, even if they are way worse, we give the poorest people, we give the people who are necessarily locked out of religions, the means to interpret their own religion, the means to teach themselves they are justified. At the end of this day, they cannot simply defend an idealized religion. They have to defend the Catholic Church, the awful institutions along on their side. We are the side that gives people the means to reinterpret, that gives the ability to reform, the ability to fight evil. Incredibly proud to be
We thank the government and all this include the opposition bench of the debate as a whole. We've got on the opposition way.
The reason why this side of government is going to take this debate is because in the best case of their world, people are individually fulfilled and they feel like they're personally connected to God. But at no point are they given the affirmation that they are definitely correct or wrong. And that's why we think that their world, when people feel like they're extremely right, there is no calibrating force to ensure that they are going to be willing to accept various different interpretations or various different ways that religion exists. But in the counter opposite of their world as well, people are likely going to defer to things like not knowing whether they are having enough or doing enough at all. They're constantly going to be uncertain. They're going to be riddled with doubt that they are Christian that just isn't filling the scriptures enough, that isn't doing enough to get into heaven or hell at the end of the day. Those two extremities are exclusively enabled in a world where there is no religious authority to tell you that you're doing enough, in a world where there are no religious authorities that are equally competent to talk to each other and discuss what is the best form of interpretation of scripture that exists. Insofar as they don't explain that people have an incentive in general, thank you, about different ways that people are interpreting, and when they don't go to resorting to things and saying that my personal connection with God is the reason why this interpretation is correct, as opposed to like deferring to the fact that you are an image of God and you would like to talk with other people who are also images of God, i.e. bishops talking to each other, cardinals existing in the Vatican and discussing to each other. That is the structures that don't exist under their world. That's why they cannot get away with saying things like religion can also cross-interact and get better under their world. What am I going to do in my speech? I have 2 quick responses to get out of the way, which directly engages with the government, because I do think a large chunk of things that come out from closing government is derivative of opening government's material. Now I'll talk about the 2 extensions that we gave you. The first, with regards to no thank you, why radical options are more likely to exist in greater extremities in the the gov case. And secondarily, the dismissive response that we heard about hope and accessible fulfillment, which is our extension material. Two responses. Firstly, with regards to the abuse of power. Calm down, okay? Abuse of power. And why do we think that under their world, there's greater likelihood that abuse of power is a comparative cost that we're willing to cost versus the types of horrible things that exist? We already gave you, in closing opposition, structural reasons why leaders don't want to be abusing power. Oftentimes it means like wanting to convince other people to enter your religion, wanting to be seen like the religious structure that oftentimes can convince a person who is atheist or from another religion to enter your religion. Those are literally incentive structures to ensure that you don't want to be seen as someone who is abusing power. That's why we think structurally you are likely still going to look at religious scriptures. No thank you. But secondarily also, I think people who are religious leaders do care about scriptures, do care about the ways in which you are interacting with God. These are not just people who are power hungry and selfish, because I like to believe that religious leaders oftentimes care about what God thinks about them and want to be correct as much as possible. So I don't think there is an incentive to abuse power insofar as you do want to be correct and you do want to care about what God says that you're doing correctly in this world. Those are reasons to prove to you why there's not likely going to be reasons why people are going to be abusing power under our world. But even if, in the worst case scenario, don't take it, we have to cop the abuse of power, because sometimes people feel that they ought to be slightly defensive. That has to be compared with the Gov's model of individuals and smaller factions feeling just as defensive and wanting to defend their own interpretations. That's exactly why we argue to you that people under the world of government is going to be far more defensive and less likely going to tolerate things like counter opinions. It is literally counterintuitive for the opening government to come up here and say they're going to have less sects of religion under their world. The Sunni Shia division is literally because both interpretations just argue that the Prophet Ali ought to be the one that leads Islam, or the Prophet Umar al-Khattab is the one who ought to lead Islam. That version of defensiveness is further exacerbated in the side of God without any calibrating entity to say that we ought to divide and ought to unite as a united force. No, thank you. But the second thing, the funniest thing that I heard from God is about people can be flexible in their world. They can be gay and they can be Christian. Bro, if you look at Leviticus, it literally says you cannot lie with another man and that is a sin. That literally this interpretation is going to be the reason why no one will cross-interpret their religion. And people will believe that to be the best version of religion that exists. The comparative under our world is authority saying things like, for example, maybe there's another scripture that can compete with this. Maybe you can be things like love thy neighbor, and like oftentimes this comes exclusively when you read the entirety of scriptures and you are able to compare parts of religion with others. That is enabled under our world. The version of theirs and their world is people just nitpicking certain parts of religion because they don't know it is an entirety. So basically they just cannot meta religion, but we think people who are smarter and know more about religion can meta religion. That's why we think the ability for you to be a queer person and be Christian is better. I think opening opposition response to this is a bit like convenient in the sense to just say there's going to be an offshoot and you can be a progressive Christian. I think our version of this explains it better in the sense that you can be somebody who's defended better. Sure, opening.
We highlighted in our case that personalized connections allow for value pluralism because it's now understandable how different people can understandably come to different conceptions of God. This reduces hostility along with the capacity to have radicalized behavior built on the notion that there is one right way to access God, and that is our way.
Yeah, so we agree that you will have a plurality of views, but we also agree that individual plural definitions will be far more defensive about their versions, because oftentimes they resort to saying things like my personal connection with God is the reason why my definition is correct. The counter at our world is people discussing that we think that comparative is not proven to be correct on the side of opening government. Extension material, why do we think doesn't receive the response from closing government? This is where we told you that accessible fulfillment exists when you are able to be a poor person who oftentimes are dejected by society. You don't have any other accessible forms of fulfillment that exist. OO says that religion will be a queer haven and everyone will accept you in the next 5 years as they see as a trajectory for this. I don't know how true this is, but I think we engage with stakeholders who resort to religion because it is their desperate and only way of living life and like being able to access some degree of fulfillment in the world today. They say in closing government in response that they can also hear things like God talking to you on a day-to-day basis, and then like apparently leader opposition concedes and says that like you can some way convince yourself that God is listening to you. But I don't know what that necessarily looks like, because oftentimes because of confusion that you're in, not knowing whether you're done enough or not, the constant silence that you feel that Jesus isn't talking to me, or the scriptures and parts of my life isn't changing because I'm not praying enough, does not exist in the side of government. Under our world, a pastor says that you're doing enough, you're a good Christian, God is with you right now when you're in prison, and He will take you out of this. Or oftentimes, life will get better in the future, but for now, God is watching over you. Those are types of accessible forms of fulfillment that religion exclusively enables for individuals who are marginalized and socio-economically disenfranchised in society. The reason why closing government's response is insufficient is because we think these are individuals that resort to religion the most and need that fulfillment versus other individuals that oftentimes can be a lot more privileged at the end of the day. What do we think in conclusion is the most contentious material in this debate? We told you in closing opposition that radicalism is significantly less likely to happen. We also told you to give the best version of fulfillment for people who need it the most. For all these reasons, closing opposition.